Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm the football voice of the Hoyas, Jeremy Huber, joined by head football coach of Georgetown, Rob Scarlotta. Coach, thanks again for joining us.
Great to see you, Jeremy.
Great to see you. And, Coach, the first few of these, we're coming off of victories. This time, the first loss of the season. It was a shootout type game against Lafayette, a fun game to watch, a fun game to call, a fun game to play, though I know you would have liked the result to be a little bit different. Kind of give me your thoughts on the matchup with the Leopards.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think every game that we have on our schedule can be a back and forth. It was really proud of our kids. We were down early, and kids really fought back to get it to even at halftime. So, typical Patriot League game, back and forth, and we always talk about either win or learn, and a lot of lessons from this game. As we're preparing this week to go up to Brown.
Coach, before we move on to the matchup with the Bears, your team was not the best defensive performance. A lot of yards given up in both rushing and passing. Leopards did a good job. The question is this: do you think it was more kind of some of that youth you have on defense, or maybe guys not doing their assignment and maybe trying to too much to make a play that led to some of those big plays for the Leopards?
Yeah, a combination of both things, as well as it's a good football team. They did a good job scheme-wise. Coach Trox does a good job. So, overall, we always talk about every opponent we play is going to be a good one. If you look at the rest of our schedule and our schedule for the whole season, so it's really Hoyas versus Hoyas, and there were definitely some things that we'll clean up. Things that we are atypical for us as far as the defense goes. So, really going back to basics this week and making sure that we're doing a great job keeping our teaching progressions tight and make sure our guys know where we want them to be.
Coach, can you share some of the things you guys are working on, or is that too much for Brown to know about coming into the game?
It's pretty simple. Tackle the guy with the ball, right? So, we're an attack defense, plays a relentless effort. And we had some misfits and we had some things that, we created and some stuff that Lafayette created. So, there's a lot of lessons to learn. And I think our coaching staff has done a good job of taking the emotion out of it and making sure our guys understand what the expectation is. And, we're looking forward to striving towards getting back to the defensive standard that we've set here, over the years.
Coach, you mentioned tackling, and that was really the play of the game that kept you guys in it. Lafayette looking to go up 3 touchdowns. Cooper Blomstrom comes off the edge like a demon as he makes the play, really tackles the ball carrier and the quarterback, knocks the ball loose. Nye Mose is there to go 99 yards the other way. Kind of give me your perspective on the play those two made and your feelings during it.
Yeah, we've got some great running backs from Lewis Trinity High School down in Texas, and Joel Campella and Isaac Ellsworth. But I think Nye's going to have 2 longer carries than both of those guys in their career here. So, it was a really it was a great play and hopefully an identity play for us where our guys, did a great job on first, second down, got to third and got the ball out and really turned the game around. And, that led to a sequence where, we had to go right back out on defense. We came out, got a stop, and another score. So we were able to go in at halftime with a tie ball game. So very proud of our kids. They just kept fighting, and it was one of those days where it was back and forth.
And, Coach, you had some other big plays. Chicozy with the big strip sack early in the second half. You had the B.J. Bolden interception right before the half. Is this a team this year that you think maybe is going to have those turnover-type plays to be successful?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we're on the plus side of it. We've, knock on wood, we've done a good job of taking care of the football as far as the turnover margin in all 3 games. So, for us, I don't think it's anything special. We want to do a great job of taking care of the ball on offense and taking it away, eliminate explosive plays on the other side, and tackle well. So, those are things that we preached from day one all the way back into last season through spring and summer. So, we try to keep things very simple, don't complicate things, and make sure that we're setting expectations and holding our players to it.
Coach, before we move on in the show, got to talk about the offense, the big yardage there. Danny Lauder has another really good game on Cooper Field against Lafayette. And you guys really got some things going there. Kind of talk about the offensive performance, not only Danny, but the rest of the group.
Yeah, it's a great group. And I think I've been saying this from the beginning of the season. It's super competitive. each one of our position groups on offense, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, even the quarterback room, offensive line, there's a lot of competition, and that shows throughout the practice week, and it started to show up for us on Saturdays. So, very, very happy that we have some different weapons that Danny can get to and Dez can get to. So, also very impressed with our kids with not being selfish about who's getting what carries and what statistics. They just want to win and move the ball. So that's been fun to watch a lot of different guys show up. There's names like Kibble and Grimes and Dunneman, but, Hassan Mahassan had two of the best catches I've seen. Brock Beestick is a key player for us. And then I can mention all the running backs. So, for us, it's great to have that competition, and hopefully we can keep the production where it is.
Coach, now time for a new feature on Sitting Down with Sgar. Going to call this our Coach's Corner segment, where we check in with a coach from your staff. And today we're going to check in with Joey Parton, the offensive line coach. And before we get into the interview, Coach, maybe some more title coming on to Joey's nameplate.
Yeah, we've done a great job of running the ball, and Joey's done a great job, last year and this year, especially with our offensive line. So, in our offense, we take a lot of pride in being able to run the football and having an identity up front. So, in addition to being the offensive line coach, Joey's going to be our run game coordinator. I'm very, very proud of him, and really happy with his work individually with his group and overall within our offense.
Joey, congratulations on that. Want to start here, kind of assess how your group has done through the first 3 games.
Thank you so much, Coach, for the honor and the title there. It's something that we will take very, very seriously, and obviously it's a group effort on our coaching staff, not just me. But proud of the way the group has fought so far. We've had to battle through things through these first 3 games. Guys have had to step in and out of the lineup. Really proud of our leadership. We got some veteran guys in there. When I first got here 2 years ago, we were starting a bunch of sophomores, and now it's hard to believe, but they're seniors now. So, your Trevors, your Senies, Sowicki, these guys, Kaysen, they've done a great job taking over the room. We have a player-led room now, and obviously there's always room to improve, but really proud of where we're at right now.
And Joey, you mentioned that, and it's a pretty cool group where it's just an eclectic mix of personalities and backgrounds in addition to how they play. What have you done as a coach to try to meld that together, or is that, like you said, a player-led thing?
Well, I think that's just Georgetown. It's very unique for a place like this. I've been fortunate enough to work at some other stops, and it's not like this. FBS level, Division III level. This is what Georgetown is. This is why you come to school here. On top of a lot of other things, but it's a very unique setting. Our room does a great job of taking everyone in, regardless of where you're from, ethnicity, background, things that you believe in. We've got a room full of guys that are from so many different wonderful places all over the U.S. And it's really cool watching them come together, form a group out of it. So.
Joe, what are some of your core philosophies when it comes to coaching an offensive line?
Well, I think the number one thing is that we play offensive line. I learned it a while ago, right? Versatility creates value. And so, we don't get a chance to just say, hey, we play center, we play right tackle, we play left guard, whatever. We play offensive line. And versatility will create value. It'll create opportunities for you. We've had guys have to play multiple positions already this season, and they just salute and run up the hill. They have no issue with it. So I think that's the number one thing. And then the other part would just be we have to play connected. It's one of the true positions in sport where we rely on the guy next to us, right? Receivers, they run a route. Sometimes they need an MOR or something out there on the perimeter. But for us, we truly depend on the guy next to us. There's a lot of communication involved. The combinations change a little bit as you work with different guys in and out of the lineup. So I think you have to be truly on the same page, not only just with the offensive line, but the tight ends, the run game, with the running backs, the quarterbacks have to be dialed into the protection. So it's totally a group effort to play offensive line.
Coach Scarlatta, let's bring you back in here. I'll give you the softball. What has Joe brought to your offense in your offensive line room?
Yeah, there's an identity there. There's a toughness that Joey's brought. And, first and foremost, he does a great job of taking care of his players. truly cares about them on and off the field, takes the time to build relationships there. And I think in that room, especially if you've ever been around a football team, your offensive line room's a little different. The culture there is different, and the group is, the lifeblood of your offense. So, I really give Joey a lot of credit this year with the group, and especially last year. We went through a lot of injuries up front, actually in the last 2 years, and to be able to plug and play guys and make sure they're prepared to play one of the most complicated positions that we have. I have 100% trust in what he's doing for us, and, really blessed to have him on staff.
Joey, in our preseason interviews, I went through a whole bunch of guys and had a chance to talk to Josh Sawicki, and he really credited you with he called you an expert. I'm hoping he wasn't just kissing up for some more playing time. I think he really did believe it. But Josh said you're an expert when it comes to picking up schemes and tendencies in a game. Where do you think that talent came from for you?
Well, I appreciate that from Sawicki. I don't know. We're always trying to improve as coaches, and we're never truly satisfied with where we're at. But I've been fortunate enough to learn from a lot of different coaches in my previous stints at other places, and then here. So most of what I teach is not something that I made up or something that I created. I've had to adapt a little bit to the personnel and things that our guys do well and things that they don't. But in reality, that's our job as coaches, is to put our players in the best position they possibly can be to be successful.
And one last one for you, Joey. And you and I have a very similar shared background. We come from the same county. We went to the same college, Hampden-Sydney. Shout out to those guys. You and I played for the same coach, Marty Favret, who has DC ties. You also had some time under Ryan Silverfield out at Memphis, of course, their coach who started at Hampden-Sydney. And it's interesting, Coach Favret and Coach Silverfield didn't play college football because of different circumstances. So maybe a little different perspective. Did you learn some things from those guys that maybe not have been the traditional perspective of a college coach?
Certainly. Both very unique, both very different individuals in their coaching style. But I wouldn't be where I'm at without either one of them, especially Coach Favret, who one gave me an opportunity to play college football and then gave me my first opportunity to coach. The Hampden ties, as you know, are very, very strong. And pretty much every job that I've ever had, there's been some sort of Hampden-Sydney guy involved with it, including Alex Colt, the previous O-line coach here. So they were both very, very good coaches. They were very good to me. They taught me a lot of lessons, not only in scheme and X's and O's, but also how to be a great coach off the field. And I'm very thankful for both of them.
Before we let Joey go, Coach Sgar, we also have another connection. His father and one of my guys from the Summer League baseball team I work with, they're golfing buddies. So shout out to Bob Parton and Bill Russatella. You guys keep being our number one fans. Joe, thank you so much for joining us on Sitting Down with Scar today.
Thank you guys so much.
Real quick, want to let the Hoya football alums know we got a great event coming up next week on Thursday, September 25th, 2 days before Georgetown faces Columbia. Gridiron Club will be holding a reception at the legendary Tira Segno Club in Manhattan. You can find out more, get your tickets at GeorgetownGridironClub.com. Also, remember, homecoming, it's not that far away, folks. Morgan State, that'll be on October the 4th. It'll be a 1 Eastern kickoff, and that you can go to guhoyas.com to purchase your tickets for the homecoming game. Always fun homecoming on the Hilltop. Well, now time for our Sitting Down with Scar Spotlight, as we will welcome in one of the guys who had a nice matchup against Lafayette last time out. Isaiah Grimes now joining us on the show. Zay, thank you for taking some time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, Isaiah, got to start here. You're a guy that came in and obviously limited background when it came to the college game. You really kind of exploded as a big-time weapon from the tight end spot. Let's start here. Third year on the Hilltop. Where do you think your game has improved the most?
Probably blocking. I think I came in as a freshman, probably soaking wet, 210 pounds. I mean, I never put my hand in the ground before. I played receiver in high school. So I never heard or known what a 9 tech or a 7 tech was, or A, B, C gap. So I think coming in and having Coach Spence and the other tight ends who've been here before, just soak up any information I can get. So I think from just every year, I just learned more and able to just be able to put that out there that I can block. and I'm not just a receiving tight end. I'm an all around tight end.
But you are a heck of a receiving tight end. You had 2 touchdowns, I believe, your first multi-touchdown game on the collegiate level. And we talked a bit before we got the show going. You really credited the rest of the receiving core, Jimmy Kibble, other guys helping get you open. Is that one of the reasons you think you had a big day against Lafayette, that they were really focusing on some others and gave you some opportunities?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jimmy and Nick are probably I'm biased, but I think they're the 2 best receiving tandem in the Patriot League. So when you have those weapons as a defense, it's hard to think about the other receiving options on the field. So game planning for them too, I was able to just feed off of that, and they were covered a lot of the games, so I was able to just make my mark.
Coach, let's flip it over to you. As Zay has admitted, he played 2 years of high school football before he got to you guys. So probably you guys really were seeing him after or during his first year playing high school football. What were some of the things that intrigued you about Zay Grimes as a prospect?
He didn't look like a basketball player playing football. Great basketball player in high school and through the youth leagues, and had a real, a toughness and an edge about him, playing receiver. And that's something that we've seen, with him here, on top of the fact that I know we've talked about, how close our team is and those things. I'd say Zay is one of the best teammates that I've been around in my coaching career. Has true empathy for his teammates and understands what we're trying to do as an organization. Has really been one of the players that's driving our player-led culture. So, as talented as he is on the field, he's a true asset for us in the locker room as well.
And Coach, when we were talking before you got on with us, I was asking him about Carroll and some of his big catches, and Zay saying, "Man, I really want to see him put one in the end zone." Mm-hmm. Again, Zay, what do you like the most about this tight end group that you're a part of this year?
I mean, I think really just we all can do anything. I mean, those 2 touchdowns I had could have easily been Burke. They could have easily been Connor. They could easily been Max. I think I just was blessed to be out there to have them. But I think you can just plug us in anywhere. Like I said, earlier when we were talking, we came in, Burke was the blocking tight end, I was the receiving tight end. I mean, Burke runs great routes, has great ball skills. So I think we're just all around players throughout the whole room. So it makes it very fun for each one of us when another one does well. But it's just, I think from just versatile standpoint, this the sky's the limit.
One last one, a fun one for you, Isaiah. We talked about this before, Coach. We know that he went to William Penn Charter School. The dramatization of that school was a big part of the show, The Goldbergs, on television, that was ABC comedy. And Zay, you were telling me before that one of your teachers, especially your phys ed teacher, kind of ended up being a legend that was featured not only there but also at William Penn.
Yeah, Mr. Miller. He was my gym teacher in middle school. And he was also my middle school basketball coach. So yeah, I didn't really know the history behind it, but I got to learn as I came up in Penn Charter. Yeah, he's a legend. Also, my 6th grade math teacher, Mr. Charlie Brown, he was Adam Goldberg's math teacher too. So yeah, you kind of come in and don't really know who's who, but it was kind of cool, being around so-called legends. So I definitely enjoyed that.
Well, that's awesome, Zay, and we hope that you can add your name to the legends of William Penn one day. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you again for joining us on our Sitting Down with Sgar Spotlight.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And Coach, as we wind this one down, you look for a bounce back this week as you take on Brown, and it's always that interesting matchup for you guys, be it they or be it Columbia in the past or other Ivy League schools where it's their first game of the season. You guys have 3 under your belt. Kind of talk to preparing for a team that hasn't put anything on tape yet in 2025.
Yeah, it's both ways, right? You could say it's great to have them in their first game, and you could say it's not so good because they're coming out fresh from camp. So, Coach Perry does a great job on offense. Always has. We've have had to defend him a couple times at different schools, Princeton before, and now at Brown. And they've had some changes on their defensive staff as well as adding Coach Murphy, to their offensive staff. So there's a lot of talent there. on the coaching staff and the players. And honestly, coming off of a shootout with Lafayette, we really went back to our roots, and just really this week during the prep week, it's Brown and it's Hoyas versus Hoyas. We're just looking to keep improving and make sure that we clean up the things from this past weekend, as well as emphasizing the things that we did well. So always interesting to play somebody that doesn't have a game. You don't have film and those things. That's where you really rely on your research and your staff and those things.
Well, Coach, we're going to wish you good luck against the Bears and hopefully come away with that bounce-back win.
Appreciate it.
That's going to wrap it up for another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. Remember, the Hoyas will take on Brown on Saturday, noon Eastern kickoff. You can see it in person if you're in New England, or watch online at ESPN+. Want to thank all of our guests today, Coach Scarlata, also Hoya tight end Isaiah Grimes, Georgetown offensive line coach Joey Parton, and our producer Eliza Kravitz. That's all for this edition of Sitting Down with Scar. I'm Jeremy Huber, and Hoya Saxa.